Want to be Britain's strongest man in 2008? Well, first, you got to get past Terry Hollands. Drawing the Britain's Strongest Man trophy out of the Minehead sand is one thing. Trying to wrestle this out of the very powerful hands of the reigning champion is something else. That's the challenge, though, facing the other competitors as Terry Hollands begins his title defence in Heat 3. From Scotland and a finalist last year, Chris Innes. A legend in bodybuilding, now a strongman, 44-year-old Eddie Elwood. From Ireland, Paul Roberts. Making his first appearance, 25-year-old Rich Gorvin from Dorset. And the man whose crown they all crave, Terry Hollands. The first of 6 Herculean tests of strength takes place on Minehead seafront with a tyre flip and farmer's walk.
And if the guys wanted a nice, gentle introduction to strongman, they came to the wrong place. This is the medley, the tyre flip and the anvil walk. The tyres, 400 kilos each. You've got to flip them 4 times. When you've done that, pick up 2 anvils of 125 kilos each and take them up the length of the course. So, let's meet our first 2 competitors, both dwarfed by the tyre.
Paul Roberts.
Paul Roberts.
And in lane 1 from England, Rich Gorvin.
And the young man, Rich Gorvin from Wimborne in Dorset, just down the road a little bit from Bournemouth.
To positions.
This is a real step up in class for Rich. And Roberts on the far side has experience of this, but Gorvin has that kind of youthful thing going on that he knows no fear. And he's got a lead here as he goes for the 4th flip. Not fast times, but they won't be worried about that too much. I think for both these fellas, it's just a question of finishing it. And Gorvin's got his nose in front, but now he has to stop. And as soon as you've stopped, you're in trouble. Now Roberts is in a bit of trouble, but I think he's regrouped okay. Roberts is going to get there first. And you're running with the big dogs now, Rich Gorvin. You're playing with the big boys, and it's going to be a tough one for you. He just about staggers through, but oh dear, poor old Rich. A very, very ragged finish for him, but he did finish. Just over 48 seconds, but early honours there to Paul Roberts.
Please welcome our next 3 competitors. In lane 3 from Scotland, Chris Innes.
Scotland's strongest man, 2 times in a row.
Lane 2, Eddie Elwood from England.
He's been around the block. Well into his 40s now, Eddie, but tough as nails.
Lane 3, Terry Hollands from England.
The defending champion. Doesn't he look confident?
My life's changed a lot after winning the Britons last year. Well, I basically continue to not work, pursue the sort of dream of winning World's Strongest Man. I mean, obviously winning Britons was the first goal, and obviously now I want to move on to winning the Worlds. This year's going to be so much tougher than last year. All the guys are better. There's a lot better standard right through the board. I mean, it's like literally any one of about probably 6, 7 guys could win the title. I mean, a lot of it's just going to hinge on who performs on the day. Strongman really is a way of life. Literally, you've got to give everything to it. I mean, I train usually building up to a big competition like this 9 times a week. I do 9 sessions in a week, which involve 4 gym sessions, 2 event training sessions, and 3 cardio sessions. I'm fairly confident of retaining my title. I'm feeling good. I have had a little bit of a break from training not long before the Britons, and yeah, obviously to all of us guys, winning the title of Britain's Strongest Man, I mean, it means everything, you know. It's basically saying you're the best strong man in the country. I'm aiming to cling on to that sword with every bit of my grip I've got.
when the other four got drawn in the same heat as Terry Hollands, there was probably a collective sinking of hearts, because realistically that meant there was one place up for grabs. The more you see of Terry, the more experience he gets of strongman, the better he seems to get. The reigning champion on the podium at the World's Strongest Man last year. He really should be too good for this field. And he's built up an early lead here, and Hollands is not the sort of guy you'd expect to stumble with those anvils. He'll normally do that in one, and he's done it and looks around contemptuously as if to say, sorry, nothing to it. Chris Innes on the far side has had a pretty good run, though. He's going to pick up useful points for that, the Scot, in this battle for second place. And Eddie Elwood, the former Mr. Universe, well, he crosses the line 3 good times there. But Innes quietly picked up good points, but Terry Hollands just owned that event. Looks like he could have doubled it, doesn't he?
It's a good result from Chris Innes, who takes second ahead of Paul Roberts, but Hollands makes the Farmer's Walk look more like an afternoon stroll. Join us after the break for more action. We remain on Minehead seafront for the second event in Heat 2, the safe lift. 2 safes weighing 115 kilos are lifted overhead, but the task is made that much harder by the movement of the safes. Technique is vital for a good result.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next competitor.
And it's Big Eddie Elwood, one of the country's greatest ever bodybuilders, now doing strongman, and he's watched as ever by his parents. His father Eddie is here. He never misses a competition. It really is a very close family bond.
My father supported me in anything I've done, and the same with all his children, you know. It doesn't matter what we all choose to do. He's been at the back of us all the way. I think that's what a good parent's all about. Yeah, still my biggest fan. He's never missed a show. Every bodybuilding show he's been to, and I think he's been to every strongman show I've done in this region anyway.
Me and my wife are always there. We were here last time he competed in Minehead, and we've been all over the world with him when he's competed. Eddie was always very sporting. When he swam, he was a school captain. When he played rugby for East Durham. And when he boxed, he wore an England vest.
And then started actually weight training to aid me boxing. And I chose a bodybuilding show to have a go at, to actually increase the muscle density to go back to boxing.
And in a very short time, he had his foot on the ladder and he was Junior Mr. British Isles. And from then he just made a swift climb to the top. And as he's probably told you, he won the Amateur Mr. Universe and 5 times Professional Mr. Universe, one after another, beating Arnold Schwarzenegger's record by 3.
I was 39 when I did my first strongman show, so maybe a little bit late in life, but you know, I enjoy it. There's certain things through injury and things like that, but I haven't come half-hearted. I've still come to kick a bit of backside if I can. So we'll just have to see what comes of it. I mean, my timing's a little bit off, but my strength's there, so we'll see what comes of it.
Take your position. Ready, lift.
So Eddie's just got to lift these safes, and the biggest problem that he's going to have, well, in addition to the weight, is the fact that you've got to keep the balance. That beam just moves around, especially if there's a bit of breeze, and once it starts moving off its base, it really is difficult to control it, and he didn't make the best of starts in this one either.
Well, Eddie's had a catalogue of injuries over the last few years since he switched from bodybuilding to strongman, and his right shoulder has had all kinds of problems. He used to have the biggest, strongest shoulders in the world, and he just can't get his arms straight overhead. Causes him a great amount of discomfort. But he's doing all right here. 4. If he can get 7 or 8 reps, then it'll at least put pressure on some of the other guys.
As you can see, he really tries to shorten it as much as he possibly can. There he is, because it's just moved off the base. But yeah, it's that arm extension that causes him problems. I mean, there's no telling what kind of pain he's going through just going for these lifts. Everyone getting behind him. And it's either an advantage or a disadvantage just to be going on your own as well. Some guys like that, they can just concentrate in their own little world. Others like to be pushed. I'll get the feeling that you're pulling ahead of a rival, but Eddie's out there on his own. Well, his parents are there in the crowd, of course, but they're always there. But it's Eddie against the safes, and he takes 7 and says, you know what, that's not my strongest event. I'll take the 7, see what it does for me.
So Eddie, you were dreading that event, weren't you? Why is that?
Totally. I mean, I've had a bad shoulder for the past 2 years now, well, 3 years, and it's not getting any better. Surgeons have said they can't do anything with it, and I used to be good at pressing, but sadly it was lacking, and I was worried all about this event. Tried it in the yard the other day, found it hard to do 1 rep, so I was really, this was going to be my worst event.
Doctor, the shoulder looks incredibly strong, but it's actually hiding problems under there, isn't it?
Yes, unfortunately he's got considerable osteoarthritis of his glenohumeral joint, and he had to compensate. He did very well considering, but we're just icing it down just so he can carry on with the next events.
Thank you. Good luck, Ed.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next 2 competitors. From Scotland, Chris Innes.
Chris currently occupying that 2nd spot.
And from Ireland, Paul Roberts.
And just behind him, Paul Roberts, who is probably tired of hearing all the Elton John look-alike jibes.
Ready?
But there is more than a passing resemblance. So a little duel between 2nd and 3rd here, and with one of the other guys nursing an injury as well, it could well be that these 2 are the guys that are battling for 2nd spot behind Terry Hollands. Innes is lifting well, but he's losing control of the safes, whereas Paul has got very good control of the safes, and that's why he's been able to get his nose in front. He's being more efficient with his work, the Irishman, but now Innes is starting to come back at him a little bit. A good battle, this. Both these fellas need to just straighten the arms up, though. There, that's better from Innes.
Well, suddenly 7 reps from Eddie Elwood doesn't look so bad, does it? If this had been in the Jimmy Marcoux, Darren Sadler heat, they both did 17, didn't they? But this heat is considerably down.
Paul Roberts can't get the lift there. Imagine him thinking to himself, these things are breaking my heart. And it looks like they are. And 7 for Chris Innes. Well, that 8 puts him past Eddie, so good points for Chris Innes, who's going to stay very much in 2nd place there, and not looking good for Paul Roberts. 8 for Chris Innes. It moves past Eddie Elwood. More importantly, it beats Paul Roberts, and Roberts failed to beat Eddie Elwood, so there's daylight now between Innes and Roberts in this unofficial battle for 2nd spot. Here's the man that we all think is going to be the number 1.
England, Terry Hollands.
The pride of Dartford.
And from England, Rich Garvin.
Dorset hasn't produced many strong men, and then along comes Rich.
Rich Garvin, 25, from Wimbledon, Dorset. I'm a lead roofer. This is going to be my 7th competition. I did a bit of rugby, a bit of athletics back when I was in school, but nothing quite like strongman. I've always watched it from a young age. It's always been my favourite show each year when it's been on. Generally, I've been quite a big lad at school. I was always the biggest. When I started training down the gym, I seemed to be quite strong, and I started at 15, so quite a young age, doing lead roofing, where I'm just constantly humping around big rolls of lead. So I had to be strong for to get through from day to day, and it seems to build me up well for moving into the sport. My goals this year are to do as best as possible, try as hard as I can, and learn as much as possible, and just see how far I can get.
Take your positions. Ready, lift.
Nothing to lose and potentially an awful lot to learn, Rich Garvin. Didn't do too well in the medley.
Well, I saw him in his first ever competition down in Portsmouth, and he won the shoulder press there, so he's got phenomenally strong shoulders, Garvin.
And he's matching Holland's lift for lift at the moment, actually just marginally in front of the big fella from Kent, so if he can pick up big points here, he can well get himself into the mix in this battle for 2nd. He's doing very well indeed, now in the lead, and still in front of Hollands. If he can keep in front of Terry Hollands, who hasn't even broken sweat, look at him, well, He could be. He's certainly going to be on for a second spot, but there could be maximum points here for Rich. This is good lifting.
I think Hollands is doing just enough to beat Chris Innes, isn't he? He's done that now on 9 reps.
Oh, he knows, doesn't he? He knows. And Terry's looking around as if to say, well, I've done enough. And I think some of the fans are saying, well, look, come on, Terry, what you got? And Gorvin's showing some experience here. He knows he's in first place and there's no one else to come. So why bust a blood vessel trying to go for more? And then, just as you say, he's done enough. Well, he's looking to say, hey, Terry, I'm coming after you. Terry says, I couldn't care less, quite frankly, but wasted effort in a sense, but I think he'll have enjoyed making his own little statement there, Rich Gorvin. Well, he didn't need to do this, but it's all about confidence, this game.
Our current Britain's strongest man gets beaten there. Terry, is that surprising for you?
Not really a surprise. I actually expected Rich to beat me on that event, so I didn't really want to push it too hard and then still not beat him. So I was just aiming for second place, and that was good enough.
Well, you did 9 reps. You looked like you slowed up at the end. That was tactics then?
Yeah, totally. Just didn't want to have to work too hard. Obviously, we're still in the heat stage. Want to save as much back for the final as possible.
Well, this man here, first time ever Britain's strongest man, just about the youngest competitor. Rich, awesome shoulders. What, did you know you were going to do that well?
Oh, I was hoping for a good result there after the bad first event. So I just wanted to go whatever I had to do to get first place to get the points back.
Must mean quite a lot to have the great Terry Hollands saying these nice things about your shoulder strength.
Yeah, definitely. Big confidence booster.
Well done. Well, let's hope you carry on in the heats and do well. Congratulations, guys.
As Terry Hollands plays a tactical game, Gorvin is the only man to make it into double figures and takes an unexpected win. He narrows the gap on Innes for that important second spot. Now, we've seen this event before in previous heats. It's a real test of the athlete's strength and stamina. It's the barrel and sack load. And Colin, this would not be my idea of fun on the beach.
Mine neither, Martin. From what we've seen so far, this is brutal. These 2 100-kilo barrels and 100-kilo sacks have to be taken down to the end and loaded onto the platform. The guys are struggling with lactic acid, a very difficult event.
From Ireland, Paul Roberts. And from England, Eddie Elwood.
It's the sand that really hurts. The weights are difficult, but not beyond these men. But to drag those weights across sand, and you've got to make sure you keep them on that platform as well. That's what really hurts the longer this event goes on.
And with all those years of bodybuilding, he carries so much muscle mass, Eddie Elwood, doesn't he? You just wonder whether there's muscles in places most people don't even have places. It's kind of unnecessary for this event, and he'll be huffing and puffing very soon here.
And he lost some technique there because he let that barrel just roll over when he could have had it just standing up. So he lost some time, and that let Roberts sneak in front of him. And Roberts is maintaining that lead as they go back for this last bag. But that sand is now starting to really hurt these fellas. Roberts, has he got enough of a grip to make it count? Well, he's wobbling a bit. Elwood's, and he's lost it. Yeah, he never had it. He was always fighting that bag, Roberts. He went off with it too quickly, and Elwood, who paced himself the better, gets there first. I've got the feeling Roberts looked around, saw Elwood in his slipstream and said, I've got to grab this bag and go for it, and that proved to be costly for him.
From Scotland, Chris Innes. From England, Rich Gorvin.
Chris Innes is still in second place, but this young man's just behind him now, so that's getting interesting.
From England, Terry Hollands.
He hasn't quite disappeared into the distance yet, but you get the feeling Terry could go through the gears anytime he wants.
Ready?
But let's watch this battle between the man in green and the man in red, because this could be quite a duel. Hollands, you would expect, will do well. It's Innes that's got the jump on Gorvin. Terry's just got his nose in front, but he's making it look ridiculously easy, isn't he?
Well, for a giant man, you got to remember back to Terry's past. He was a rugby player, wasn't he? Played professional rugby at 21 stone in body weight. All right, he's another 5 or 6 stone heavier now, but he's still pretty fast of foot, isn't he?
And Rich Gorvin has closed that gap right up on Chris Innes. Holland's still comfortable. Innes has got that bag, so he's still in front. And here comes Gorvin. Yeah, Hollands has won. Innes is looking good for second, but Gorvin is coming up fast. And that's going to be... Oh, I think Gorvin's nicked it, you know. He's got his hands off the bag ahead of Innes. He timed it perfectly, and he's stolen second from Chris Innes.
Well, Rich, congratulations. You're a bit of the surprise package in this group. Second place in that heat. How do you feel?
Really good about that, yeah. Very, very hard. Chris is a brilliant athlete. I was chasing him all the way, and luckily I picked him at the post.
During that, do you sense the other athletes around you while you're competing?
As you get to near the end, yeah, you have a quick look round, and then you get the panic at the last minute, especially as I think he was slightly ahead of me coming up to the last stack. So,
well, breathing heavily, it's tough work. Chris, he just pipped you with that one. It's getting interesting between you two now. Second place behind Terry. Terry's just pushing ahead, but it's going to be a tight battle between you guys.
Yes, tight. The last couple of days, cat and mouse all the time, and I think it's going to last right till last day. Well, hopefully anyway, and we'll see what happens, you know.
Any events where you think you might have the edge over him?
You can see, you see what happens to Darren and that with the sack, so all it takes is a small mistake and it's wide open again, you know.
Another convincing win for Hollands. For such a big man, he has great mobility. Gorvin and Innes continue their duel for the runners-up spot, but can Eddie Elwood and Paul Roberts make their move? Find out after the break.
Welcome back to beautiful Minehead. We've been blessed by the weather today, and Martin Bayfield is out there somewhere working on his tan.
Now, we've stayed on the beach for one of the most spectacular events in strongman. It's the keg toss. Contestants have to launch 10 of these 20-kilo kegs over that 6-metre barrier in 90 seconds. Now, that's tough enough as it stands, but add a strong wind into the mix, and you got quite a challenge.
And it was a challenge too much for Paul Roberts. The Elton John lookalike might be saying I'm still standing, but not for much longer.
From Scotland, Chris Innes.
Chris Innes is definitely still standing.
Christopher Innes, 25, Spear and Bridge, and I'm an HGV mechanic. I am 2-time Scotland's strongest man. The final was very difficult last year. It was a big experience for me. I'd never actually been to Britain's Strongest Man before, and my goal this year is obviously I'd love to make the final again. It's a big thing to be Scottish and down here. I mean, there's a lot of English boys, Irish boys. It's just good to, it was good to, you know, put our name in the map again instead of English always in the final. And I think it was only Scotsmen in the final last year. It'd be good to see a couple more Scots in the final this year. Terry definitely is the favourite for the group. He's just a man mountain. He's a giant. He's even standing next to him, everyone looks small to him, you know.
Ready?
Well, it's a battle with the kegs for Chris. That's not what he needed at all. So much technique to this. You've got to get the height and the elevation. Oh dear. And he's got a problem here because this is draining his energy. You want those first couple of barrels to go over easy, and this one is not going easy at all. And you certainly don't want to be trying to catch the thing on the way down. You can really do yourself some damage there. And he's starting to feel the pressure of Rich Gorvin really working him hard. Well, he's got one over, so he's equal Paul Roberts. Needs to make sure of that second one as well, and that's not going. Well, that wind that Martin Bayfield alluded to is definitely playing a factor here because it's not helping those kegs over when they do get the elevation.
Well, also, Paul Roberts and Chris Innes in practice, they managed to do this. It's amazing what pressure can do to you. You really have to keep your cool in a throwing event. There's a certain amount of aim here needed. He's got the height just about, but he's not quite aiming it correctly.
I'll tell you what, Rich Gorvin is watching this and salivating at the prospect because he's got a chance of moving into second place here. This is not what Chris needed at all, and the pressure really on. And I'm not sure this yellow barrel is going to roll over for him.
10 seconds.
One last chance for Chris Innes to make it 3. Oh, that could be big. That could be really significant. And can he stick a 4th one over before the gun? No, he can't, but that 3rd could be very significant. Chris Innes didn't have a great competition, but he kept his momentum going, didn't lose heart, and has got 3.
From England, Eddie Elwood.
And Eddie, with that right shoulder problem, finds another event that really isn't tailor-made for him.
The only thing in Eddie's favour here is his phenomenally powerful back.
Let's look and see where's that. Oh, good grief! Not tailor-made for him. You kidding? Well, anytime they're going over and you can't hear them go over, you know it's good. Look at this. They could have stuck another metre on that thing and he'd still be clearing it. I tell you, the organisers are going to have to rethink this competition because Eddie Elwood has just made that look about 6 foot tall. Fantastic effort through the first 5. The first 6 go over, none of them touch. And this is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful stuff, and these fans are enjoying it. Eddie's enjoying it, certainly. That powerful back of his, the technique, terrific. The elevation he's getting on all these barrels is almost identical.
Oh, we were talking about Rich Gorvin and Chris Innes being in a battle. This could bring Eddie Elwood right back into it.
You're not kidding. 10 over. None of them even touch that tin. That is phenomenal. Easy, easy, they're saying in the crowd, and they're not wrong. That may be the best display of keg throwing this competition's ever seen.
Well, Eddie, you've got quite a rhythm going there. 10 barrels over, very impressive.
I don't know what to say, really. I knew after watching the first guy up that I had to be a bit more relaxed and just take my time. Because as soon as people were panicking, it seemed to get hold of them.
Now, you really needed a good score and a good time to keep you in contention. You think you've done that?
Well, I don't know. Terry's a good... I'm not going to say Terry's a good tosser, but Terry's a good thrower. So, yeah, I need the points, but there's some good guys in the group, and I've only come down to prove I'm still not too old for it, you know, really.
Well, you're not too old, and not too old for a bit of innuendo as well. Nice to see that. Now, as you're working your way through the 10 barrels, does it start to bite at a certain stage? Do you start thinking this is really getting tough?
Around 8 or 9, I just felt as though the members were slowing down a bit, but still seemed to be clearing okay, so I just carried on.
Oh, well done. One for the OAPs. Congratulations.
Now from the old boy to the young gun.
From England, Rich Gorvin.
I wonder what Rich's mindset is going into this. He knows he needs 4 to beat Chris Innes. That would take him into second spot, but he also knows that Eddie Elwood is capable of maximum points out of this as well. I don't think you can realistically think, well, I've got to match 10, because that's just too much. What Eddie did was absolutely phenomenal. But if he can beat the 3 of Chris Innes, and he's just about to do that, well, he knows he's got good points. Where's that going? Ooh, just went the right way. There's your luck. So he's guaranteed a 3rd spot regardless. But he'll want to do a little bit better than that, I think, because Terry Holland's still to come. If he could just get in between Elwood and Hollands, that would be an extra bonus point.
Well, we've seen Terry Hollands do this event twice at World's Strongest Man. One year, the first year, you remember, he choked and only did 3 barrels. The next year came back and did all 10. So Hollands does have the capability to mess this up.
Well, as you say, that was 2 years ago. Terry has learned so much since then. I think to expect Terry to choke on these kegs again would be asking too much, but this fellow isn't choking either, is he? That's a good little haul he's got there. 7 down. Make it 8. So he's going to make Terry do some work for that second spot. That's assuming he doesn't go after Eddie Elwood, of course, which we think is out of sight. But 9, make it 10. He would have beaten the time, but who cares? 1 minute 21, all 10 kegs down, and Terry Hollands is going to have to do some work. Well, I get the feeling Terry Hollands might not have minded finishing second to Eddie Elwood, but he won't want to finish 3rd. He won't want to be beaten by 2 guys in this event, so he knows what he's got to do. As you say, 2 years ago made a complete mess of this event. don't bet on that happening again. In fact, the way he started this, that 59 seconds might be under threat here.
I think there's low-flying aeroplanes under threat here.
Good grief. Oh, he just got one wrong there. But the way those first 4 went over, it could have been a new record. As it is, I think all 10 are on the way here. Is he going to break the minute? Well, we're going to know soon enough. Well, and I'm sure Paul Roberts and Chris Innes, who struggled so badly, must be feeling sick at watching what these 3 guys have done since. 29 down, and he's going to go one-handed. No, that didn't work, did it? He could have decapitated himself there. Yeah, don't play that trick again. Well, this might push him down to 3rd place, you know. Or 2nd place, should I say. No, he's still going to do it. Just. Well, he played a little game there, didn't he, Terry Hollands? Got away with it.
Well, Terry, well done. You won that one. You set off at quite a pace, but you nearly blew it. A little bit of showboating there.
Yeah, I guess I had enough time to just have a quick go and then obviously have another attempt afterwards. I did make a bit of a mess of it, but no, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. I still got the win and also got to do a bit of showboating in the process as well.
Well, the crowd certainly appreciated. Why did you go for the one-handed approach?
It was just a bit of fun and a little bit of a bet that I had before the event, so no, I'm pretty happy with that. It was good fun.
Well, you didn't quite manage it in the event itself. Do you reckon you could have a crack at it now?
Yeah, I'll have a good go, yeah.
Go on then. Well done, Terry. Hollands proves that timing is everything in this event. Despite the showboating, he just shades Elwood for the win, while Gorvin is ahead of Innes for the 3rd event in a row. Elwood's performance would have been anyone but Hollands. The former bodybuilder, though, is back in contention. After the challenges on the beach, we move location to the amusement park here at Butlins. There'll be no fun in the sun for our athletes as they face their next challenge, the deadlift.
There's nothing to the deadlift. It starts at 250 kilos, but then somebody starts dropping barrels in and it builds and builds. And if you do all 7, you've lifted 330 kilos. Paul Roberts lifted 5 before the strain was too much.
Next up from England, Terry Hollands.
Big tell. On course for 1st place in this group, but very aware that there's some decent competitors around him at the moment. Getting to the top in strongman is one thing, staying there is something else. Not that Terry's about to be knocked off his perch just yet. In go the barrels. It would be news, let's put it this way, if Terry didn't do all 7. The only real question is, how quickly can he do all 7?
Well, he's lost a couple of stone in body weight since World's Strongest Man, and he said it slightly affected his overall power. His absolute power, as it were. Oh, we're not going to find out, are we?
No. And there's going to be no wasted effort from Big Tell this year.
Terry, well done. You clearly knew what you had to do to get through. That seemed a very measured performance.
Yeah, obviously, this is still just a heat stage. Where it really counts is in the final. Just trying to save as much as I can to get through to the final. So obviously there's a lot of good guys here this year. It's going to be a lot tougher competition, so I want to save as much back for the final as possible.
Well, you got a title to defend. You're through to the final. Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Thanks.
Yep, Terry Hollands had done his mathematics, and once he realised he'd beaten Paul Roberts, he knew they couldn't catch him. So here's Rich, being watched by his father. Rich is well in the mix, still in 2nd place, but he's got Innes right behind him, and Eddie Elwood is not out of it either. And I guess with Terry Hollands dropping out after 5, the field is open for somebody to go for it here.
Well, we've talked about his strong shoulders. There is Dad. And if he can pull this 5th one, it'll draw him level with Hollands, but not as quick.
Yeah, he needs to find another one, and I'm not sure there's one coming, not after that. He seemed to put everything in there. He's got a lot of time, that's the good news. But the way he struggled with that fifth would suggest that this is going to be too much for him, surely. No, he's not going to do it. No, he put everything into getting that fifth. There was just nothing else, nowhere else he could go.
Well, Gorvin was confident in his shoulder strength. He knew his back strength might be a little doubtful in this heat.
Next up from Scotland, Chris Innes.
And the Scot had a glint in his eye as he was watching Rich Gorvin. 5, that's all you got, it seemed to be saying. Well, if he can manage 6, he moves into automatic second place because he'll have moved past Hollands as well. That's a big if. And he's taking his time.
He doesn't look comfortable on the first two.
He doesn't at all. And if he struggles, maybe Eddie Elwood can jump in and make things happen.
I mean, how many efforts did he do with the keg? He must have done 25 efforts.
Right. That's right.
His back and legs will be tired from that.
He needs to get this 5th, and then we'll have to go to the clock to see who's done it fastest. He gets to 5, but just like Gorvin, that seemed to be the limit, and it is. Well, we're going to have to get the stopwatches out, but I'm not sure that he's beaten Rich Gorvin, you know.
Next up from England, Eddie Elwood.
And that opens the door for Big Eddie. If Eddie does 6, regardless of the time, he takes maximum points, and he could still jump in and steal second place on the stones.
Well, a fit, strong Eddie Elwood of a few years ago would do all of these barrels. Good start.
He looks all right through 3, but so did the guys before him. But he looks all right through 4 as well, and this is starting to look ominous for Rich Gorvin and Chris Innes. This to take maximum points, and he's done it effortlessly. Is he even going to bother with 7? Yeah, pride has kicked in. He did all 10 kegs, he's doing all 7 lifts, and he is very much in business as we go into the Atlas Stones. Wow, he is coming up fast on the rails here. So all the kegs lifted, and I hope he's got some oxygen left for those Atlas Stones. He's going to need it.
Eddie, you've just been checked over by the doc, clean bill of health, which is a relief. Impressive, first person in this heat to do all the barrels.
Yeah, well, I was a bit apprehensive because I've only had 4 weeks training for this. It's a long time since I've done any heavy deadlifting. So I was very happy with it.
Now, there were some of the younger guys there saying not bad for an old man, so you showed him how to do it.
Yeah, not bad for an old man.
And you must be proud of your son.
Very proud. Old man or not, he's still a guy for me.
Ah, well, there you go. Good support from your family, good support from the crowd. Well done. The former Mr. Universe is coming good at just the right time. With Hollands taking valuable points away from Gorvin and Innes, Elwood's destiny is in his own hands going into the last event. With Hollands having already qualified for the final, join us after the break to see if Eddie can snatch second on the stones. In Greek mythology, Atlas was punished by the gods who forced him to carry a globe on his shoulders for all eternity. His ordeal is the inspiration for the Atlas Stones. It's the closing event of the heat, and for Eddie Elwood the opportunity to reach the final as long as he can beat Rich Gorvin and his injured shoulder holds up. The rules are simple. 5 stones ranging from 120 to 160 kilos have to be raised in order in less than 75 seconds.
Well, Paul Roberts managed 4 stones in a decent time, and he was never going to trouble the top 2. Rich Gorvin in second place, but Eddie Elwood right behind him.
From Scotland, Chris Innes.
And Chris Innes has let it slip away a little bit.
From England, Terry Hollands.
Well, Innes' best chance, he's got to win this and hope that Hollands has a fast time and knocks the other 2 out. I think there might be a mathematical scenario where Innes can do it, but realistically it's not going to happen. First of all, though, he's got to make sure he beats Big Tell, and Hollands has done enough, but Terry does the Atlas Stones for fun. Most people would have their hearts broken by the stones, but not Hollands. And he's looked at 4 and said, I don't need to do the 5th, I'll walk away.
Well, I guess Terry's tactics there, just to get his hands on the stones again before the finals, because he'll be doing it there. Ooh,
that doesn't look too clever, does it? Well, a disappointing end for Chris Innes. He was in 2nd place for so much of this competition, but he's going to bow out with an injury. That's really frustrating for him.
Well, Terry, you're through to the final before that, but you're still fired up 4 of the stones.
Yeah, it was a pretty quick times 4. Pleased with that. That was all I wanted to do. Get 4 up quickly. I don't really want to get him interfere in the next battle, and just put 4 up quickly, and that was enough to get through to the final anyway, so it's good enough.
Well done.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
So big Terry Hollands, as expected, takes one of those 2 spots.
From
The 2nd
England,
spot
Eddie Elwood.
could be Eddie Elwood's.
From England, Rich Garvin.
And it could be Rich Gorvin's, and it really is as simple as this. It's winner take all. At the moment, Gorvin leads by a point, but if Elwood beats him, he will move ahead of him. And it's the youngest man in the field against the oldest man in the field, and you can feel the nervousness in the air. Elwood slightly in front, and Gorvin, I wonder if he's just starting to tighten up on the big stage. Remember, this is his debut in strongman, certainly at this level.
well, Eddie's not going that fast, but Gorvin's really fluffing the first few stones here.
Yeah, I wonder if this is where experience is starting to tell. No, nobody's attempted this 5th stone in this heat yet, but they have to here. And who's going to get it? If that 5th stone goes on with Eddie Elwood, he's in the final. Look how close he is. It's almost there for the old fella, and he's done it. Wow. Well, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and Eddie Elwood has come on like a gangbuster in the 2nd half of this heat. And he's pushed Rich Gorvin down into 3rd place, and that is no disgrace, though. Rich Gorvin is going to be around for a long, long time in this sport. Yeah, it's great to be young, but today was the old boys' day.
Well, gentlemen, a titanic battle, remarkable performance, and we couldn't split you at the end. You're even on points, and you guys kind of worked it out yourself. We went on the countback. Eddie, congratulations, you're through to the final. Rich, tremendous performances from you as well. This must motivate you to come back bigger and stronger for next year.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame to lose such a tight battle, but it's my first year here, so I'll be back bigger and stronger next year for definite.
Well, it's been great watching you. Give him a huge round of applause. Well done.
Well, what a terrific scrap they had, the old and the young, Eddie Elwood and Rich Gorvin going down to the wire. But it was Eddie's big push that got him level with Rich at the end, and he wins 2nd place on a countback. He'll join Terry Hollands in the final.
Well, Terry, a very measured performance in the Atlas Stones. Are you happy with your progress through to the final?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's all gone, really. Obviously, just wanted to save as much energy back for the final as possible. I mean, the final's going to be really tough this year. The guys are really good. So it's just a case of, trying to hold as much back as possible, so I've got the extra energy in the final.
And of course, you're the reigning champion now. Is there a little bit more pressure on you this time round?
Yeah, perhaps a bit more. I mean, maybe everyone expects me to do well this year, whereas last year sort of I was a little bit of the outside favourite. But yeah, I mean, I think I can thrive on that pressure. I mean, I'm ready to put in a good performance and hopefully win the title again.
Well, that's our reigning champion through to the final. Will he be joined by the 2006 champion, Ollie Thompson? He's in action next up from here in Minehead. But for the meantime, from all of us at Britain's Strongest Man, see you next time.